Shalom, my little friends. Okay, so let's just finish with this deer and we'll go from there. There is just so much to do with this deer and technology, but let's just read about Diana real quick. Diana was the false goddess of hunt. She was the twin, her twin brother was Apollo. Okay, the reason why I'm bringing her up is because she's portrayed with a bow and arrow and accompanied by deer or hounds. So this deer, here she is with the deer and the arrow. We talked about the arrow yesterday as well. Okay, so deer seem to be in all these coat of arms. Well, we have these technology guys. They have come up with fiber optic cables. Fiber optic cables is what data and the internet, that's what the internet runs through. And it's not up in the clouds, it's in the oceans, the waters and stuff, and it's also in the land. They've cut out areas, but it's more in the waters, these fiber optic cables. Okay, so these cables are made of glass on the inside of them, and glass is made of sand, and these cables have germanium and silicon in them, these fiber optic cables. Now, the guy who created germanium, not created but invented germanium, he actually came up with it. Let's read a little bit about germanium. Germanium was discovered by Clemens A. Winkler in 1886 in Germany in a sample from a silver mine. Germanium is made up of silver, sulfur, and mercury in a new element which Winkler named germanium. Alright. Oh, ergorodite contains 75% silver, 18% sulfur, and 0.2% mercury. 6 to 7% a new element, which is germanium. I'm not going back. Okay, germanium. This is it's the element 32, Ge. Go over here to the guy's coat of arms, Winkler's coat of arms, before we go any further. There's just so much here. It's everywhere. So much, just so much. Okay, so here's Winkler's coat of arms, and you notice he's got Germany on it. But what is that? It's your deer. And there's more deer, and there's 3 heads. Not 3 heads, but 3 heads in one, just like Shiva. The Hindus, Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu. Here's more deer on his coat of arms, more deer on his coat of arms. Now let's go over here, and let's see this one of Winkler. I wanted y'all to see this one because you've got the square of the Freemason square and compass, and there's your Jewish star, the star of the Jews. Remphan, actually, the star of Remphan. Here's more of the deer. I think I just showed y'all that one. Okay, so we have Winkler, who has come up with this germanium from Germany. His star, his coat of arms. Ooh, so much. Y'all have no idea how much I've tried to do this video because there's just so much here. This coat of arms has deer all over them. And germanium. So germanium is produced. Y'all can read this all yourself. Do your own research on this one. The history. Dmitry Mendeleev, the father of the periodic table, predicted the existence of the element number 32, which he named Eka silicon. Remember that, silicon. Because what did I say? It's made up, these fiber optic cables are shot up with silicon and germanium. Okay, Mendeleev, whatever his name is, father of the periodic table. This is his coat of arms. Notice the 3. That 3 on the top is very significant. But this guy, notice the rings on the arms. That has to do with Cernunnos. 100% guarantee you. No lie. Then you got your bells. That's Shiva. There's all you Shiva. I mean, bam, there she is. That symbol right there, the horseshoe, that's for that luck. That comes from those false gods as well, over there in China and in the Hindu religion. And then there's your Allah right there in this whole coat of arms from the creator of the periodic table. So he's the one who knew about number 32 germanium, but he did not find it. Winkler is the one who actually found it. So 17 years after 1869, Clemens A. Winkler discovered this element, rare, named the element after his homeland, germanium. Alright, y'all can read all that, see it. First commercial application, invention, Bell Labs in December of 1947, 1 year before Israel became a nation. Years following, germanium-containing transistors found their way into telephone switching equipment, military computers, hearing aids, and portable radios. Things began to change after 1954, however, when Gordon Teal of Texas Instruments invented a silicon transistor. Germanium transistors had a tendency to fail at high temperatures, a problem that could be solved with silicon. Until Teal, no one had been able to produce silicon with a high enough purity to replace germanium, but after 1954, silicon began replacing germanium in electronic transistors, and by the mid-1960s, germanium transistors were virtually non-existent. But they are now. They certainly are now. They're using them today. That is exactly what these fiber optic cables are shot up with. Let's see. Wait. Let's go back and let's look at this Teal. His coat of arms. Teal's coat of arms. Now, he don't have no deer, but he certainly has dragon. Very interesting. And also the 3 at the top. This significance, these connections, there's some real stuff. They're there. It's happening. Alright. Let's see if we missed anything on Teal. Nope, we didn't miss anything on him, but that's his coat of arms. He's got a dragon on it. Goes back to the worship of the dragon, that old serpent, Satan the devil. Alright, where are we at? Yep. First Voyager space exploration missions launched in 1970s relied on power produced by silicon germanium. Okay. Germanium is most commonly produced from... Nope, that's not what we're going to read. And y'all please... wait a minute, let me move this so that y'all can see that. That, so y'all can see that. That. I just want to make sure that y'all are able to see this stuff and my head isn't all in the way. Alright, this is where I was trying to get to. The largest germanium producing nations are led by China. The largest germanium producing nations are led by China, where 2/3 of all germanium was produced in 2011. Other major producers include Canada, Russia, the USA, and Belgium. Now, in the United States of America, there's only 2 places that germanium is produced, and one of them is in Clarksville, Tennessee. There's another connection to Tennessee in this ancient technology of the giants and the fallen angels. Here's Tennessee. They are digging in zinc mines in Middle Tennessee to produce this germanium that's going into the technology. Here's some stuff about Williamson County, which is Clarksville, Tennessee. One day we'll do some stuff on that. But here's about silico. Silicon, it comes from the word in Latin root meaning well, silicon. Volcano, Konino is a German and Latin and Greek root meaning dust. Silico, if you'll do more research in it, silicon comes from the word that means volcano as well. Volcano. Now, yesterday, I kept pointing to this little guy right here. Well, he's not a little guy. It was actually a really big guy. He is the first artificial intelligence in mythology. He was created, supposedly invented by the false god Hephaestus, Hephaestus, and he's the false god of fire, metalworking, and crafts, so artificer. His counterpart is Vulcan, the false god Vulcan, the false god of volcanic power. The one that invented this, his counterpart is volcano. Well, if any of y'all know anything about Star Trek, you got the Vulcan symbol. Vulcan, that is the Sheen symbol in the Hebrew language. Leonard Nimoy got that from rabbis that were praying toward a congregation that he was at. They were told to turn their backs. He looked out of the corner of his eye, and he seen that these rabbis were facing the congregation and doing this symbol toward them when he was 11 years old. He said it resonated right in his body. When he made Star Trek, or when they started doing Star Trek, he used that as one of his main symbols for his hands. That symbol links back to Sophia, the artificial intelligent robot that is around this image that has been given life. The blood, that was a vein that was created, invented in this Talos, this first AI in mythology, had one vein that went from the head, I believe, or I'm not really sure, down to the foot. It don't really even matter to me. But the thing is this was made up of Irkon, Ichor, ancient Greeks, blue blood. It says the Greeks and European royalty have this in them. All right, now let's read a little bit about Talos. Let's see, Talos, Greek island of Crete. Zeus was also called Talos. Let's see. Now there are many myths about how this big thing was created, but I believe that it is this Hephaestus that created it, just because of the counterpart, the Vulcan. All of it goes together, every bit of it. It's the same stuff, But you notice it says that running down, a single vein starting from his neck and running down to his ankle, liquid metal. And then here's the core. That's what it is. It's called the blood of the false gods. And see, in Crete there is a honeybee hive, and they say that that's where this nectar of the false gods is. Blue blood, the color of the blood running the veins of the Greek false gods and European royalty. A large percentage of European royalty have the blood group Rhesus O negative. Only 5% of the world's population have this blood group. If I'm not saying that right, please forgive me, but you can see it. Praise Jesus. The blood group Rhesus O negative certainly has special properties. A person with the blood group can receive blood only from this group, but can give their own blood to absolutely anybody regardless of the blood type. It's been said that people with the Rhesus O negative blood type have rather bluish hue about them. Okay, we don't get about that. Rhesus O negative differs enormously from other blood groups, and allegedly scientists have no explanation for this difference. It is even said that CIA have files of hospital birthings, and I believe that. I believe that's what they do. Could European royalty have descended from Greek gods, false gods? Remember the bees in ancient Crete? Creating a core. See, this it goes together, right? This first artificial intelligent thing was made, put on Crete, Crete was to walk around every day. It walked around the land 3 times a day to protect and guard the land of Crete, where the blood of these false gods is supposedly it. The bee is the sacred symbol of many ancient and not so ancient royals. Napoleon used the honeybee as often more important symbols of the power and prestige of his empire. Okay. Between the 11th and 12th centuries AD, the aristocracy of the Kingdom of Castile reposed the Grecian Cretan backstory into the Spanish political metaphor. You can see the name there of blue blood as a self-reference that they were uncontaminated by Moorish and Jewish blood and therefore the true Castilians. The English language around 1834 adopted that name as a clique, the word-for-word loan translation blue-blooded to mean royalty, nobility, and or elite. And this is who runs our country, okay? These blue bloods. Now, it's just no coincidence that they are doing the transhumanist thing. You know, they're making themselves into this artificial intelligence. These are not coincidences that these names of these folks and what they come up with, they are of these blue blood elites. They're following the pattern of the fallen angels to a T. They're following their instructions. That's it. To a T. Just right. And every bit of these mythology stories is like a map that they're putting the pieces together. And these stories are helping them build this technology, for sure. I mean, just look at how this stuff is linked together. But David Hansen of artificial intelligence, that created artificial intelligence, that came up with it, invented it, artificial intelligence, and they do nothing without our Father's consent. This is Hansen's coat of arms, okay? This is all their coat of arms, and I mean, look at the diamonds, the diamond shape. That is significant to the occult. We have the deer, significant to the occult. We have the stars, significant to the occult. Straight up, this is what we got, okay? So there you've got their deer. I thought we had more for Hansen. No, okay. So that's Hansen Robotics. Hansen, that's Hansen's coat of arms. All right. Oh, and look, the black and white, as above, so below. And they have black and white in all theirs. They have the checkerboard in all theirs, in most of theirs. Then you've got CRISPR, Evans. The Large Hadron Collider was made by Evans, a man named Evans. Can't remember his whole name, but look at his coat of arms. He's got deer in every one of his coat of arms. Deer here, deer there, deer. This has got the dogs. Diana was said to either have a hound or a deer beside her in all of her paintings and whatnot. Here's your dogs. And he just so happens, now, in a way, they don't look like a dog to me. It almost looks like a dragon's head. But there's dogs in this picture with their tongue out as well. That tongue is also, that is in all of these television shows, the movie stars, the singers, the musicians, they've got their tongue sticking out. What is the stag represented of? The symbol of music. Anyone that has the stag as their on their coat of arms, it is a musical. Good with music and harmony. Okay, seriously, this is just amazing to me. Hansen Robotics. I didn't go to this one of David Hansen. I knew there was one more. Well, here we are again with the music. This right here is significant. That seems to be everywhere. in the Gotham Tunnel when they were doing the parade at CERN, the Large Hadron Collider. I might be saying that wrong, the parade's name, but they had these hats. I remember seeing them that look like this with these horns, but those look like tubas, a pipe that you blow into. Dude, and it's horns, it's the horns. And Hansen had more of the horns, the two, they've got the two coming out from the top, the feathers. Yeah, okay. So, Hansen, Teal, who are we missing? Evans, CRISPR. I just did hers, its. Zahang is the CRISPR's lady's name that helped with CRISPR. One of the creators of CRISPR, one of the main ones that pops up. And look, the torch, the American torch. That torch, I'm not really sure, but one of y'all know what that's about. But look here, once again, this same exact horns, tuba things at the top of the head, two of them. And this one is interesting because it's got a man on the top of it. I think that's what his name is, Quang, or whatever his name is. This is a very old coat of arms as well. So there's that. Okay. This is also another of the Zahang, or whatever it is. And what is that? You see? What is that? I think that's supposed to be a unicorn, but it's two horns of a unicorn. Very interesting. It's an old one of the Zahang, or whatever, however you say that name. They also have the scopes, the looking glasses coming out, the visionary, and look, it's the black and white, that as above so below. And even their animals, I can't tell if he's green. Oh, that is not a regular horse, that is a seahorse. So representing water, and the water is normally not in the coat of arms. There's only a select few that have water in their coat of arms. Okay, so we have looked at everybody except for the rulers that I believe rule and operate some of this world, and that would be the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds, this is their coat of arms. This one is kind of blurry, but you see the horns, you see the star in the middle, the Star of David as they call it, the three on the one crown. And see, this isn't three heads in one, this is three separate heads, and they all have something on top of their heads. But look here, you got your unicorn. Let's go to one that we can actually see what's going on here. Unicorn, the man's hands, and it looks like it's the two, as Ezekiel says, the two branches in each hand, and he's to put them together, the two houses. This is saying they have control over these houses. They have control over every bit of it. And that in the middle there, what is that? To me, it looks like a flying saucer, but is a pyramid on top of it. Very interesting, very interesting. So this is the Rothschilds coat of arms. Yeah, maybe that's, I don't know what that's supposed to be, to tell you the truth. I think that's what it is. Flipping, that's what it looks like, that thing I just said, an alien ship. But look, TBN. They were showing you that TBN has the same exact animals on each side of their symbol. The main Christian station that runs things. There's no coincidence. So if you look on Google and you research, you punch in Rothschild coat of arms or something along those lines. Actually, I punched in Kushner family crest, and it popped up that Hilton and Rothschild are trying to bring their crests together. Well, here's Hilton's crest. And here you have your deer. You have a ram with that symbol. I can't exactly remember what that is, but there's your Star of David. There's your Hindu symbols right there. That symbol right there, that saint's symbol, that is that goes back to a heavy culture. Can't remember exactly all of it, but this one was significant. This one, what does he got in his hand? A holly branch, a holly bush, a holly twig. What is holly? Holly wood. They use their hand for the spells, and it's very interesting to me that he has the rings around his arm. It's a hand, a man's hand coming up, and they're black and white, as in jail outfits, jail suits, just like a jail suit. They're saying they got control. They've got control over every bit of it. I mean, there's no denying this stuff. It's right here in our face. Right in our face. So, all these technology buffs, all of them, have got something similar with one another. Something that they match one another. And they've all got something to do with this Diana. The stag or the dog. And I didn't see very many arrows, but I know there are some with arrows in the bodies or in the head or through the animal or something along those lines, but I'm just not seeing it. Okay, we don't have time for that. All right. So we've looked at the bee and the blue bloods and how the connection there in these two, I kept talking about like the two feathers, the two horns, the two tuba thingies. That's the significance of Cernunnos. Okay. All this technology works together. All of it. It's the connections are almost unreal if I didn't see it from my own eyes, and praise Yahushua Jesus that he is blessing us to see. Okay. Notre Dame. On the inside of Notre Dame was this on the posts. There's Cernunnos right there. The piece of art originally stood in the Temple of Galileo, Rome, town of Luto's chief settlements, a Galactic tribe, Paris. No, where is it at? Oh, I'm not doing this over. The pillar, in fact, is dedicated to the Roman false gods, Emperor Tiberius, who ruled from Tiberius. This is talking about the pillar. It's in here. It's in here talking about the pillar, talking about it being to Cernunnos. And I'm just not seeing it. I've went way over time. There it is. Represents the Gallic divinities Cernunnos, Smirtios, and Essus, as well as the Roman Vulcan and Jupiter. There's Vulcan again. Vulcan is in this, okay? This Notre Dame that was brought down on the day that it was brought down, it was brought down on April 15th. Notre Dame. Here it is. Brought down on April 15th. Okay? April 15th, the Jews did a ceremony on the new Temple Mount that they're building. Alright? Did a ceremony. Jewish priests performed a Passover sacrifice. They performed a sacrifice on that Passover, the day that Notre Dame went up into flames. Prepared a sacrifice. Sacrificed an animal on this day that Notre Dame was brought down into flames. This is no coincidence. Notre Dame fire, the same day, April 15th, 2019. Inside Notre Dame were pillars for Cernunnos, this false god. This stuff is real. This stuff is connected. When they take and they're building these, buildings are being burnt down, and there was a pillar for Vulcan as well. I'm sorry, I just noticed it. These buildings are built for these false gods, and then they're burned down. While these buildings are being burnt down, they're doing these sacrifices and these rituals or whatever else that they've got to do to bring on these false gods, these disembodied spirits and the giants. The more that they do these things, they reenact these sacrifices, they do these rituals, they burn these buildings down. The more that they do these things, the more information that they get, the more crop circles that come about, the more understanding of the ancient technology, the wider and wider the bottomless pit becomes open. That's exactly what this stuff is doing. It all works together. It's all linked together. All these families that run these companies, these scientists that come up with this stuff, they're all of these blue bloodlines. They're the only ones that can know this information. Do you understand? It's the same stuff as it was back in the olden days. They only let us know what they want us to know. But the ones that are the only ones that are able to have the true information, the true, understanding of certain things and whatnot, and the mystics and all this, those are the bloodline. The O negative blue bloodline. Because eventually what they're doing is they're wanting their bodies to. I read somewhere that it said that the blue blood isn't activated until the dog star, Cyrus, comes. I think it's like a prophecy that's to be fulfilled or something along those lines. This is what they're doing. They're trying to get immortality. If they can get their blood mixed with the false gods as nectar of the false gods, then they can live eternally. Stop time. Live without being in time. This artificial intelligence and this blue blood, this ichor, whatever it may be, that artificial intelligence keeping that Thalos watching over the land of Crete was created to be the guard of the land of Crete, where the blood, the blue blood, the honey from the honeybees, the honeybee hive is. That's no coincidence. That's no significance. That's no coincidence that the building Notre Dame, on the day that they decided, not the second sacrifice, which happened just recently, but the very first sacrifice that they did, that nobody really knew about because they were all paying attention to Notre Dame. And Notre Dame being burnt down, and there was a mosque. There was a mosque that burnt down in Israel as well during the same time of Notre Dame, as a matter of fact. Did I erase that? I think so. I had it in here talking about the mosque that got burnt as well. At the same day that Notre Dame was being burnt, the same day that they were sacrificing an animal in Israel, in Jerusalem, for the first time since Jesus had been crucified. No significance. No coincidence whatsoever. And no coincidence that building, Notre Dame, had statues of Cernunnos, pictures, and of the Vulcan symbol, Star Trek. Artificial intelligence, it's all connected. So, what have we learned today? That the deer is linked to artificial intelligence. Somehow, some way. You have a blessed day in the name of Yahushua. Thank you so much for listening. And maybe if I can get this thing to stop.